Hi, hello, Jeanette. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Kirsten. Hi, Madison, Monica, Olga. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Olga. Rachel, there's a lot of you. Oh, Tatiana's on here just for a minute. Hi, Stephanie. Tina. Tina. Hi, Tracy. Victoria Krippner's on here too. Hi, friends.
Oh,
Was that Jared?
a lot of good people already on. This is great.
I know. This is Oliver. Oliver. Oh, Jared is in there. Hi, Jared. Jarrett was one of the rare people that got a phone call from Italy.
Hi, Laura. Oh, my Laura's on here. Part of Team Awesome.
Oh, I love Laura. Hi, Laura. I mean, I love all of our team,
I
but
know. You
I
have
think
such
Laura is
great
like the
people.
nicest of us, I think.
I don't know. All of you are pretty nice all the way through. That's
maybe
quite the
maybe
competition.
Laura, hi Brianna. Maybe Laura is just the most even keel, I guess. She's the least crazy.
Oh,
The least. Oh, hi David, he's on here too. Laura is the nicest of us. See, Victoria agrees. Hi
I,
Derek,
I
Cynthia. We're just gonna let all these people flow in. Tracy, it's so fun. See, even Morgan says about Laura Richard, it's hands down.
I can't argue with the team. I mean, I know when I'm outnumbered.
We just had our big team meeting, and guess what? Laura gave the most shocking information about herself, but all the team still says she's the nicest. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Austin. Brianna's in here. Hi, Helen. If I miss you guys, I'm just scrolling, so don't feel offended. Nancy, there's a lot of people in here. That's fun. These are always so fun.
I know these are just great, and you've had just such amazing people on for the full year, and I'm glad I can kind of be here near the wrap up. And the fact that you're having the whole Hale and Hush team here for the one next month, I think that's going to just be a
It is
perfect way
fun.
to close out 2024.
It is. You are our last big speaker. We are so excited. I felt like I waited all year for this one.
I feel like I
Like
have too. You're just always so ahead of the game. We've talked about this, since the beginning of the year. So organization is one of my love languages. And if there's one thing
oh,
the Hale and Hush education team has on their side, it's
it's organization. We can't live without it. Richard is the best, Laura. Um, yeah, we have the whole next year too. We're going to reveal it next month. All the
oh.
new webinars for next year, all the monthly facial programs set, like everything's ready to roll. We're
So let
doing
me guess, we're
welcome
going to do the
classes.
best TikTok trends, how to slug,
How to
what other?
be, what products are best? Yeah. Hi, oh, Kristen's in here too. Oh, half our team's in here. That's nice.
That is.
I knew Shirley would be here. That's all I knew. So I saw Shirley help me. We do love Richard. Everyone loves Richard. Okay, well, we're going to give it just one more minute, get people on here. First of all, I apologize. I'm sick today. If my voice is scratchy, if I start coughing, I will mute myself. Shirley is here to back me up in case I have a strange coughing fit in the middle of our talk. Um, but we're here with one of my best friends in the industry, someone I love beyond. It's one of the first people I met, and working with you, Richard, has been just incredible for years. I love it. I look forward to seeing you. We try to meet up on all these shows. Tatiana's on here. She's still mad at me in Florida for ditching her and going to see you.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry, Tatiana, and
hopefully,
hi.
yeah, hopefully she forgives me to this day. But anyway, Richard's an awesome educator. I met Richard in the skin games the year he won holistic category. And all I thought was, oh, thank goodness I'm not going up against that guy, because that guy knows what he is doing. Talk about love language. His case studies were just phenomenal. I looked up to him, and the next year I pretty much did my case study in his style of work and what he was doing. I honestly starstruck by Richard. And then when he turned around and goes, "Oh, hi, Shauna, I know you. I've been watching you." And we were friends from that moment on, right? So I love Richard. I love LightStim. I've used LightStim in my treatment rooms for my entire career. I know we're talking about LED today for sensitive skin, but remember, LED education is across the board what it does for sensitive skin, no matter what brand you are using. We've just decided to partner with LightStim because we love their philosophy and their education. You guys know I'm a big stickler on integrity of companies and how they educate us. So this was my choice. But realize we know there's other companies out there. Just take the information that will apply to you and what you have to do. But please, if you do have another brand, we don't want to argue technique and what you could do here today. You follow your own manufacturer's instructions, right? And then we'll follow ours. I mean, everyone's got to do what they got to do, purchase the equipment they want. But for sensitive skin, this has been my go-to treatment from the very, like I said, the very beginning of my career. Victoria Krippner, from her beginning of her career too. I've used the handhelds. I don't even know how many handhelds I've gone through. I've retailed them. I have two panels. I have an older panel and a newer panel. I have the ellipsa. I have it all, guys, and all the products that go with it. So I'm a firm believer in this company, and like I said, Richard is one of the top educators in the industry. If you ever get to hear him speak and do his whole spiel, please do not pass up the opportunity. Like he's amazing, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Remember, if you guys want to chat, so sorry, please continue to chat. If you really have a real question, please put it in the question and answer box so it doesn't get lost. Morgan is here to monitor that, but sometimes the questions get lost. And remember, he can only answer on behalf of the company that he works for, although he's educated in so many things, but just realize that he's here representing LightStim today. Shirley is on here. If something happens to me, she may take over my slide deck, but I'm going to try to make it through, okay? And Richard said I'm sexy. I sound like a man. Right.
I did not say that last part. I just said that you couldn't even tell you had a cold. Everything sounds beautiful. You look great.
You're very kind. So I'm going to have Richard introduce himself professionally and what he's done in his career, and then I'll go ahead with my little slide deck. And I know you guys, most of you in here, are going to roll your eyes. It's the same thing you've been hearing for every webinar. And then we're going to go to the good stuff and let Richard get busy. So, Richard, please professionally introduce yourselves, because I introduce people out of love and kindness and not always professionality.
Well, thank you so much, Shauna. My name is Richard Edward Maher. I am a certified massage therapist and licensed esthetician based out of Orange County, California. I've been in beauty, wellness, and education on and off, but mostly since 2006. Please do not make me do the math. I actually didn't start out in professional skin. I started out at the Body Shop back when it was still British owned. Was actually there for the L'Oreal buyout, which is its own story, but I'm sure we can all imagine. But I've I've also had a stint in the tech industry. I'm what is lovingly referred to as an early adopter. I like trying new things. I like trying them out right away. But even in skin, I find that there's not a lot of things that I continue to use over time. The things that I find myself passionate about are the products and equipment that tend to be more universal, things that will work on all clientele, independent of skin type, skin tones, age, sensitivities, etc. And so things like Hale and Hush are things that I love, and things like LED microcurrent are some other things that I find myself incredibly drawn to. And then there's when those things are done well. I've been an educator with LightStim and their communications director since 2015, so almost 10 years at this point. And I've been using LightStim longer than I've worked for the company, and have been just an incredible fan of what they do, how they do it, and how it can incorporate into the industry. And I'm so grateful to be here today and to be able to talk about LED, like you said, in general, and really make it so that it shows that connection and how it does work for sensitive, reactive, or clients that are in very vulnerable positions, which I know is a big proponent of what Hale and Hush does as well.
Absolutely. I Here's a little tidbit for you guys. I worked with Richard one time at a few times at a show. I worked for LightStim before I worked for Hale and Hush at some of the shows. So I got some backdoor education, both from Richard and Chris Healy. So I was always so happy with that because I had a lot of questions about sensitive skin. And let me tell you, this man will answer all my ridiculous questions. I'm going to start my slide deck. Excuse me, guys. It's going to be a little bit boring, but you'll be okay. Because you guys didn't come here to talk to me. You really came here to talk to Richard. Okay. You can all see that. Shut down my chat for a little minute. I'm just going to run through this really quickly because guess what? You guys have heard me say this for all 10 webinars before this, right? But in case we have any new people on here, I want to go over it as quick as I can. But there are many benefits. I don't want to take away from Richard's talk he's going to give, but many benefits for sensitive skin with any LED treatment. Again, we collaborate with the companies that we find have that integrity and that education, like always. But it really helps estheticians expand your knowledge. It gives you more resources. It kind of teaches a hierarchy of treatments. And when you use other brands too, with modalities and with our brand, you have a variety of treatments you can offer. This allows you to adapt protocols. And you guys, I've used my LightStim panel from scalp to toes in my treatment room and everywhere in between. You guys know I see a lot of oncology clients, and I really do have used a lot of it around the chest and breast areas, and have obviously lent out so many handhelds for home use and retailed them, but my oncology clients get to use them for free through the radiation treatments. It gives you more client choices. It's really more effective. The results are amazing. And again, combining a sensitive skin with a modality is giving you a niche service that maybe a lot of other estheticians don't have. So it makes you stand out in our field. You guys know this, sensitive skin is our specialty. This is what we do. And today we're talking about sensitized, sensitive, compromised, and then medically compromised skin with LED. Like I told you, I've used it for all of those skin types. And I used to see a lot of acneic clients in the beginning of my career, and it works great for them too. It's just an all-around treatment, great for everyone. Like Richard said, it's universal, no matter what skin type, skin color, and any skin condition, truly. But remember, we have no minimums. We do drop shipping for you, and we do have additional training and support if you need it. Richard, these poor folks have seen this slide 10 and more times. So that's why I do not talk. I go very quickly anymore. But beyond sensitive skin, you guys know we're targeting that with our new products that are coming out. And there'll be new products in 2025. We're going to tell those secrets next month. So don't forget to register. Definitely exciting there. But now we can focus on age management, brightening the skin, hyperpigmentation. Like you guys know, we have our acne class, and there might be one more product coming out in that area. Boink. For scarring and general skin health, and then body treatments. I want you to expand your mind today when we're talking about LED, that LED can be used all over the body. Sometimes people just get stuck on the face, and man, I've used it multiples for multiple things. It works strangely well on ingrown hairs in private areas. It even works there. I've used it everywhere. But at Hale and Hush, we usually are talking about compromised barriers, right? So sorry. The dullness, the dryness, there's really not poor elasticity there, uneven skin tone. The skin just looks rough. It can be sensitive to heat, touch, and friction, painful for the client. But what I tie in most when I talk about LED, especially on a client level, is inflammation and how it can really help with that inflammation, because that is the root issue of a lot of these skin disorders we may see in our treatment room. This is our quick benefits. As you see, this came right out of my other class, this slide. You can tell I love LightStim. I put it everywhere, right? But it can help with all of these things. But today I really want to talk about reducing that inflammation and promoting healing in the skin and really the skin rejuvenation. And that's what's more important to sensitive skin. Of course, we want, more collagen building, and we want to clear blemishes and all of those things. But when you really talk about sensitive skin, it's that inflammation, it's the healing, and really kicking up, just amping those cells to heal themselves. And Richard's probably going to talk more about that, so I'm not even going to get into the ATP of the cell or anything tricky like Richard can talk about, right? But that's where it is for me, and especially a lot of pain relief, again, relating back to inflammation on other areas of the body. So that's what I love LED for, like a personal side note. Here's the products we recommend. Please hold. For LED. Because we're following LightStim's rules, and the cool thing with working with a company like them, we have tested products with them and collaborated with them. And like I said, poor Richard, I asked him a million questions. Can we do this, this, this? And these are the ones from Hale and Hush that we like the best and that can be approved by both the companies to use under the LED. And LightStim does, in fact, if it's clear, it's okay to use under LED. Some other manufacturers say no, not at all. So again, follow your manufacturer guidelines. But I love Soothe Essence, the Rare C, the Mandelic, the Hush Hydrate Gel. Even though it is blue in color when you put it on the skin, we have figured out that that blue color does not reflect the light when it's penetrated into the skin. So it's good to go. You cannot use the Rare Retinol. It's colored and will block. And do not use the Relief Bio Powder under LED. It will reflect back the light. It does not work under the LED. But Remedy Rehab is one of my favorite things to use under LED. And Richard today says one of his faves is Fresh Breeze. And of course, you can use Miss Me also, if you'd like. So these are the ones we know that work really well under it. There can be questions about other ones if you'd like, but this is what we suggest. You guys know about this program already. I cannot wait to tell you what's going to happen in 2025. These programs are going to be expanded for you. Take a breath there. Expanded, and of course, all new webinars are coming out, all new monthly facial programs, and all new content. So go ahead and email marketing at Hale and Hush if you want in. Get in now so you're all ready for 2025. That Airtable link is going to be off the chain pretty soon, right, Morgan? Morgan's here too. We'll have some new plans for you guys in the works for next year. Make sure you register for next month. Look at that. Save the best ones for last, Richard. Wrapping up November, and then December will be with our whole team, or most of the team, those that can participate, and then everything will be announced, all the new products and the webinars, everything for 2025. You guys know how to get a hold of us. If you don't, you've not been paying attention, because I put my number out there 57,000 times. So email me or call or text if you need anything at all. Let me stop my sharing, because now the boring part is over, guys. Now comes the fun part. Thank you, Shirley, for being there. I guess I didn't need you. I made it through. I was just paranoid. I appreciate you. But yeah, Morgan will be putting stuff in the chat as Richard talks. If you need anything for her to put in there, Richard, just let her know and she'll type it right in.
Thank you so much. And you need to give yourself more credit. I could listen to you all day. Once again, sick or no, you are just a very engaging educator, and I couldn't ask for a better way to segue into what we're talking about here. And I did want to start as I begin to share my PowerPoint here with saying that we are going to be focusing on education here today. We're not really going to be going over a lot of how to buy the devices or anything like that, because that's not what this is about. If you are interested in LightStim after this, great. We can definitely give you some ways in order to contact us, but this is also just the tip of the iceberg compared to what we have time for at a trade show workshop or our online certification, which is about 3.5 hours in length. We go into everything that we're talking about here in so much more detail. It's been put together by our Director of Education, Amy Gardner, and our VP of Business Development does talk about a lot of ways to set your business up for success in the final module. So just know that is something that is absolutely available to you as a professional within our industry, if that is something you are interested in. And it's one of those things where it's if you even get just one handheld device, that does open you up to be able to get this as a professional as well. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident using it. One of the great things about LED is the fact that it is something that is while it is a thinking person's modality, there is a lot into understanding how it works and why it works. It is one of the easiest things to use in the treatment room. So this education and to the theory is technically optional. It will just give you such a great understanding into what's happening and how it's used. Now, we're so grateful to have Hale Hush as a brand partner because we do share a lot of similarities, and a lot of these things are what we already talked about with Shauna here. It is a high quality line. They'll go into their manufacturing, into their own education, and the development of their products. As you can see, they're constantly growing and evolving and bringing new offerings to this, sensitive, focused line. Very caring. A lot of what they focus on, how they focus on it, both their professionals, the end users, and the type of clientele they want to serve is very important. It is a very evidence-based line. Every different ingredient they go in, it's absolutely amazing. I've had personal conversations with Chris where she explains why they use the certain ingredients they do or the blends that they do, and has the papers to back it up. And this is something where, as a medical device, we want to make sure that when we're partnering with companies, that their education and their foundation are going to be just as solid. We're both very solution oriented. We're trying to branch out of being strictly beautification in our industry and really going into wellness and health adjacent fields. And this is something where medical devices are a huge way in order to differentiate yourself in that way, as are products like Hale and Hush. Both results driven, knowledge driven lines. They're very complementary to everything else. I say that I love working at LightStim because I am a human golden retriever. I get to be friends with everybody. I get to be happy. I get to work with every other device, with every product line in its own way, if we want to. But Hale and Hush is very much the same way as well. It is a line where I've seen them partner with so many different other product lines out there because they have their focus and they can fill the holes where other lines may have some problems with that focus. And so, just once again, thank you so much for having us here, and thank you for being a brand partner and for working on all this education together. I just hope you know how much it's appreciated. Now, I just wanted to start out a little bit about light therapy in general, and not just about light stim or LED light therapy or light stimulation. And so, light therapy at its base is using low levels of light within certain parameters for therapeutic purposes. And so, this doesn't necessarily need to be LED. The oldest examples of light therapy was heliotherapy, or using the sun thousands of years ago to help with psoriatic conditions like psoriasis or psoriatic arthritis. Now, of course, all of us in here know that there are some issues with sunlight. It's a very broad band of light that includes quite a bit of ultraviolet or UV light that can be carcinogenic, mutagenic, knock electrons out of these atoms and make it so that as they create new molecules and cells, those will have the same issues from those mutations. And so it's not going to be the best, most controlled source. In the 80s and 90s, there was a comeback of chromotherapy where they were trying to use different colors for emotional, not a lot of scientific backing behind this. And a lot of times they were using light bulbs with a filament on the inside. Um, Now, the problem with these forms of light is that for them to be bright enough to get that light where we need them to go and close enough to the skin to absorb that light, they would have extreme heat side effects. But in general, think of light therapy much like you do photosynthesis. That's one of the easiest ways in order to talk to a client about it because everybody remembers this from middle school or earlier, where plants are able to absorb light. They're able to translate that light into chlorophyll to then flourish and produce further life, grow, and live. And very much in the same way, we are creating energy even on the cellular level in some cases. Uh, Bring you back into anatomy, one of the places where this is happening is inside mitochondria, which are going to be the powerhouses of the cell. So these mitochondria have tiny producing factories for ATP. They also produce a lot of other amino acids. They have cell-to-cell communicators, and it's unfortunate, but as we age, we produce less and less of this ATP or adenosine triphosphate that is the fuel that your mitochondria create. After the age of 30, this process starts to bottleneck, constipate, slow down, grow weaker. And we see that physically because at the age of 30, on average, we start to lose 1% of our collagen and elastin in our skin year after year. And that's a great way to be able to talk to your clients. That collagen gives your skin tensile strength, strength from being pulled apart. That elastin gives it its bounce back, like a rubber band, where it's able to go back where it needs to go. Unfortunately, your body is going to primarily use energy to keep what is closest to the center of your body working optimally. And out from there, it views it as superfluous. That's why in cases like hypothermia, what goes first? It's your fingers and your toes. But if you look at the body in 3D, what's the furthest from the center? Your skin. So even though this is your body's first line of defense against the outside world, it's often considered superfluous in the grand scheme of things. And so it tends to get less of that ATP, and it tends to also be the first sign of disorder or dysfunction going on inside the body as well. So with that ATP depletion, it's 5 to 8% per decade after the age of 18. So this is a process that gets slowing down. And there are parts of our body that can either absorb or reflect light. These are different enzymes in tissues, metals, etc. And these are called chromophores or photoacceptors. I like photoacceptors. It's a really accessible term because it just sounds like what it is. It's light accepting particles. But when we say it reflects it, a lot of times it also gives it its color as well. So like the heme or iron in hemoglobin is what makes red blood cells red. Melanin is another photoacceptor or chromophore. Um, Anybody in the chat look at their skin under a woods lamp, even back in school, and can remember what orange is? If you remember orange, it was the sebum. A lot of times what we're seeing is oil, but what you're actually seeing are porphyrins reflecting that light from the woods lamp. And those porphyrins are also photoacceptors. They're what accept blue light. They create a molecule of oxygen when absorbing that blue light. And as we all remember, acne can't exist well in an oxygen-rich environment, causes it to kill itself. Now, no need to remember this, but just know that there are also chromophores or photoacceptors within your mitochondria. And what studies have shown is that these chromophores are actually in the areas where the mitochondriac starts to get bottlenecked and constipated in stage 3 of the Krebs cycle. One of them is called cytochrome C oxidase. Now, we go into much more detail of that in our trainings once again, but it's able to absorb this light, have very small chemical reactions that get the clock gears going again to get everything working, meaning that we can prioritize creating ATP what we want to by using different lights that they will react to at different levels. It's a lot more complex than what we're talking about right here, and there's much more that I wish that we had time to talk about right here, but that is exactly what our other education and our certification is. So as far as you need to know right now is that we are working on creating additional cellular energy to get your body doing what it does naturally in order to work optimally. And that's going to help normalize and optimize skin function in a lot of ways that work not only for people with sensitivities, but also the general population that's also having to deal with this slowdown. More energy has better signaling. There's going to be more cell-to-cell communication where it works optimally, reduces oxidative stress and inflammation. And we already heard from Shauna earlier how chronic low-grade inflammation is a cause of so many different issues that can happen within our body as well as our skin. Increased blood circulation. That increase of circulation is great. More movement is more life. An increase of lymphatic activity, which your lymph system does not have its own pump. It's something that needs to be manually moved either when your body's moving or through things like manual lymphatic drainage, or there's all those Normatec gear, et cetera, out right now that's becoming extremely popular for this. But anything that's going to help with that lymphatic activity is just going to be so beneficial overall. More collagen and elastin for plumping and firming, less laxity in the skin, especially because we have more of those dermal proteins that are great for that tensile and elastic strength. Improved skin tone and texture and less redness, especially since we're also talking about the circulation, everything else. It's good to know that even though we're increasing circulation, we are finding there's less redness overall. So it's helping the skin respond to stressors in a healthier way because it has the energy to be able to respond. Now, a little bit about our company. We do have 3 different families of devices that are using different combinations of light, and they are FDA cleared for 3 different purposes as of right now. For example, we have our anti-aging and LightStim for wrinkles. That is FDA cleared for full face wrinkles. We have LightStim for acne. That's FDA cleared for mild to moderate and inflammatory acne. And then we have LightStim for pain, which is FDA cleared to temporary relief of arthritic pain, joint pain, muscle pain, and increased local blood circulation as well. Now, just because these are where clearances are right now, this is not where they are always going to be. Even without changing the family of lights used in each cases, we are constantly working on new developments. So these could be things where even without device changes, you can see some changes in the future as well. We've been around for over 20 years at this point. We started in 2001 with one handheld and have since moved on to create a huge family of devices, move manufacturing inside to where we have our own FDA and ISO 13485 facilities here in Orange County, California. And being able to create the devices ourselves gives us a huge, huge benefit in quality control as well. We're able to make devices that we can truly stand behind. And since LEDs are made to last an extremely long time, this is something where the devices are going to be able to withstand the test of time as long as the LEDs. We have warranties on our devices from about 2 to 5 years, but I have honestly seen devices from the early 2000s come in, maybe just need like a new cord or something like that, and they still work. So it's been pretty amazing to actually have that in our own facilities because you get to see these things in person, and that really helps you believe in the product that you are putting out into the world. One of the things that greatly sets us apart is that we do have a patented light and stim multi-wave technology. And this is where we're using 2 to 4 different wavelengths at the same time in very high concentration in order to be able to multitask. These lights are going to different levels of the skin or sometimes body in the case of our pain lights in order to work on all these different tasks that the different lights can do with different light reactive particles. And we're able to combine these in the very compact, close pattern because we have so many different specifications that go into this pen. Everything from how it's mounted onto the device, how it's soldered on, how the lights are angled, how they're put into those diodes in order to make it to where we can have it be extremely successful and have it be where these lights aren't interfering with each other in order to do what they need to do. We were actually the first to get FDA clearance for the entire face for wrinkles as well, over the counter as well, which is why these can be used for home as well as a treatment room. And because of that, we not only had to prove safety, but efficacy of these devices and had to do clinical trials to prove that this was working the way that was intended. So, being the first there, we were able to show not only can we use this multi-wave, but we have the evidence behind it that we are doing it successfully in a way to become these trailblazers within the LED industry as well. Now, at LightStim, we aren't using anything in the UV realm. LEDs, like any other form of light, can go anywhere in the gamut. They can go from UV to infrared and beyond. And since all of our devices are meant and intended to be non-invasive, no downtime, FDA cleared for anyone, no contraindications based on skin type, color, ethnicities, Fitzpatrick levels. It's something where our devices are meant to be non-invasive and used by everyone. So those combinations of light that we talked about, our acne lights are using a combination of 415 nanometer blue and 630 nanometer red. Higher concentration of blue because, like we talked about earlier, those blue lights are going to focus on killing bacteria by creating an oxygen environment where oxygen is having a hard time getting to. We have anti-aging lights that are using 605 nanometer amber, 630 and 660 nanometer red, and 855 nanometer infrared. Our pain lights are very similar to our anti-aging. Instead of that more superficial amber that's higher up inside the dermis, we replace that with a deeper level of infrared in order to go into deeper tissue. If you take a look at this arrow that's right next to this cross section of skin, we're trying to show depth of penetration of these lights because a few things that we need to think about are how deep is this light going? And is there a chromophore or photo acceptor at this level that's going to be able to absorb that light and do something with it? And so as we go deeper into the skin using lights at those deeper levels, those higher numbers, basically in the range that we're using them, the higher the number, the deeper we're going is a good way to think about that. We're really wanting to concentrate on the levels that we are intending to go to in order to create the changes we want. And so we're using these different wavelengths or colors of light very intentionally in order to try to get the results that we want and succeed. We are getting the results we want. It's not a try. I need to take that word out of my vocabulary. We try to offer these devices in ways that fit into every treatment room. We do have the Ellipsa that is a face-specific device and does have both our anti-aging and acne settings. We have devices for face and body like our Pro panel in the upper right corner. We have home care devices like those that you see in the bottom left with our handhelds. We do also create professional models of our handhelds if that's where you need to start for the treatment room. And so they're more ergonomic for you to use against a client rather than against yourself. And we do have full body devices like our bed that are within our pain family that it's the first FDA cleared bed on the market and does come with one of the face devices to be able to cover everything all at once. And man, talking about for sensitivities and redness, everything going on with the body at once, since that's using the pain family, treating everything at the same time with something like the bed, we see results that are incomparable to anything else with even though our other devices have these immediate and cumulative results when you're treating everything at once, just what you can see is pretty profound. And all these devices are FDA cleared over the counter, so they can be used by you in the treatment room. They can be used at home. It could be something if you do have an additional room open, this bed could be in there without an attendant needing to deliver the treatment as well. And so that's one of the reasons we find some great success with that with our estheticians. So as you can see, the panel opens up to a full 180, which allows you to use it on larger, broader surfaces of the body, as well as being able to contour onto different areas as well. The Ellipsa has those two different modes in the one device. It's about a 12-minute treatment for acne, a 16-minute for the anti-aging, with it about 3/4 of an inch away from the skin. And we do have a lot of great benefits in the anti-aging and wrinkle modes that go into exactly what we're talking about for these skin sensitivities. Even on top of like the health and wellness benefits, it also just makes you look and feel better when you get off the table. We say it produces a radiant, luminous glow, man or woman. I always say this is like a pregnancy glow because people know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just that there's something different about you glow that makes them feel better about themselves when they leave. Not to mention the fact that it's an extremely relaxing treatment. It gently calms and soothes to diminish the appearance of redness and irritation and works in harmony with other treatments for better results. Does LED work as a monotherapy on its own? Absolutely. Is that how I would personally recommend all estheticians use it in the treatment room? Not often. It's one of those things where LED combined with different product technology, LED combined with different equipment. It's a situation where I find 1 + 1 = 3. We have all these tools available to us, and the results I see from combining them are sometimes inexplainable from each taken as a part on its own. And so while LED can, yes, be used alone and get some pretty profound results, it's one of those things where you can take it so much farther when you do have this harmony with the other treatments that you are able to offer. It stimulates the skin's natural ability to counteract the signs of aging, reduces the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, which is, of course, a sign of that collagen and elastin breakdown. So and encourages a more vibrant, youthful appearance. It tones and refines skin texture to promote an even more soothing look and feel, and it's non-invasive, which we've mentioned a few times at this point, but that's why it's so important for sensitive skin because it's gentle, it's safe for all skin types, tones. There's no contraindications, even through the FDA. There are a few precautions, and that's something that if you have any questions on, we do have a lot of education surrounding that. We do have protocols as well. So just know that that is available. The Acne Light is using both blue and red, and so it's great at calming existing breakouts, but also reducing redness and getting some increase in circulation. What is found in blood flow? Oxygen. And since that red light is penetrating deeper than blue light, it's one of those things where you're getting a more well-rounded effect on acne. And it does destroy acne-causing bacteria to help restore the skin's natural balance. It's non-invasive, gentle, good for all skin types once again. One thing that I find with LED as well is that we've become accustomed to offering a lot of services that don't necessarily feel great, and we just say to grin and bear it a lot of the time because people want the results they want. And so to be able to offer something that both has results and is an extremely relaxing, soothing treatment akin to lying down at the beach or that same gentle warmth that you would get if you were ever not like me and went in a tanning bed. But we won't talk about those times. But it is just such an amazing ritualistic aspect to it, too. Yes, this is a medical device, but it fits into an environmental benefit as a whole as well. Now, I did mention that we do have some handheld devices as well. As you can see here, this is one of the home wrinkle devices right now that we used in our clinical trials. We were actually using the handhelds in the trial. It wasn't with the panel or any of those bigger devices. I do also want to stress that when I say that you can start with any of these devices, you are not necessarily doing yourself a disservice by starting with the handhelds because you will be able to get the same results with a handheld as you would from the larger devices. Now, with that being said, there are a few use cases where I wouldn't necessarily use a handheld in treatment. For example, if you are doing anything that's more aggressive where you don't want something directly touching the skin, because these do directly touch the skin. If you're doing anything that might be a BBP risk, bloodborne pathogen, so your permanent makeup, for an example, if you're in a state where you can do a little bit more aggressive medical needling, it's one of those things where I would go with one of the devices that is touch free and not directly in contact over something like this. Plus, you do not necessarily get those same relaxation factor benefits using a handheld as you would from the other devices where you can just sit there and be present with yourself. But with all that said, we did do those trials with the handhelds, and they were using them at home for 5 times a week for around 8 weeks. It was supposed to be a longer trial, and we were able to end it early with the FDA because we saw the results that needed to be seen earlier than what they required. The studies did continue to show that we did continue to see results after that time, but it was pretty amazing to be able to once again trailblaze this and get it going where it needed to. Now, these are some of the before and afters from our FDA trials. And here you can see a huge reduction in those wrinkles at the side of the nose and mouth. But what I'm paying more attention to is how much more even the skin tone and texture is on her cheeks and chin, showing that better overall skin health and that appearance as well. We can see a huge reduction in the rhytides on the side of the eye, those crow feet, but you can also see a huge decrease in under eye puffiness as well as better that glow even across the forehead. We do see a lot of things like that under eye puffiness decrease even after one treatment. So that can be a more immediate result than a cumulative as seen here. For those immediate results, we used a Vizia skin scanner, which I don't know if you've ever looked at your skin under a skin analysis device, but only do this if you truly have confidence, love yourself. You've done a lot of your mirror work because it will tell you exactly how many wrinkles you have, exactly how dehydrated your skin is, exactly how much pigmentation you have, how much oil you have, and put you in a percentage based on your age and skin type, with 50% being average. And so we use these machines before and after one panel treatment in order to show that there was an immediate, albeit temporary, wrinkle reduction does happen after one use with the light. So with 50% being average, this woman was a little below at 42% and had 18 wrinkles. And this highly critical machine, after one treatment, looked at this woman and said instead of 18 wrinkles, she only had 10 that it was able to view. And as you can see, those green hash marks that it uses in order to translate to wrinkles is a lot smaller as well. And this put her from the 42nd percentile, well below average, to 85 percentile, so extremely above average. But there are cases that we have inside of our training as well where we show that even people already in good health, maybe in the 75 percentile, we're still able to see a huge jump as well, maybe go from 10 wrinkles to 3. And so you continue to see this incredible benefit. We have a lot of cases with the acne where we're seeing a huge cleanup in that skin and those blemishes as well. If it's something that's more environmental, that could be after a couple of uses, even sometimes one, I find, if I have what I lovingly refer to as hotel or travel acne, where it might just be from the stress or the air conditioning or the detergent on the pillowcases, that can be a one and done. But if it's more hormonal, of course, we're dealing with a lot of other factors and things in order to regulate there. And so that can take more time in order to see things even out. Now, where I'm passionate about is LightStim being used in combination treatments. And as you can see here, there's a huge amount of different ways that LightStim can be incorporated into services, much like Hale and Hush. And where we find a lot of our benefit is through our clients who do these combination treatments. Like this is from a Sarah Samoya in Southern California who is combining a very light chemical peel, which I know that Hale and Hush offers one that I love as well, the Bedazzle. They were using it along with microcurrent fascial release massage, which fascia is that connective tissue that really does connect your whole body, your shoulder to your feet. It's an amazing modality in order to take a look into, and LightStim. And what we were able to see in an extremely low amount of time is very impressive. This is someone who came to someone both Shauna and I know, Stephanie Ray Andreessen of Brilliant Body Work in Onalaska, Wisconsin. She had a client who came in with what she referred to as a permanent sunburn in both feel and look, and they combined laser with red and infrared light in order to get her back into a place where she felt regulated. For combination treatments to reduce redness, we've seen it combined with manual lymphatic drainage and light therapy, as well as barrier restoring products and dietary changes in order to have a more naturopathy approach in order to get everything in line as well. These pictures are from a Dr. Madigan Fleck, who teaches a lot of naturopathy-based aesthetics within our industry. We do have some protocols with Hale and Hush in specific where we are doing a double cleanse using their quiet wash, applying their incredible enzymes, which is a wonderful, gentle exfoliant. Then we're toning and hydrating with either Mist Me or their new product, the Fresh Breeze, which I do have here on my desk at all times in case of emergencies. And then applying some of the products that were discussed, like the Soothe Essence or Rare Sea Serum liberally with LightStim afterwards. Now, there were some other products mentioned, like the Mandelic, and we have some rules, but rules are meant to be structure, but they shouldn't be get function. So we say to only use it with gentle botanicals, anti-inflammatories, peptides, stem cells, hydrators, things that you would use in combination with the light. And of course, you want it to be serums or clear masks. Clear because you want the product to be able to go through. But we work with very education-focused companies to create these protocols because they will test them. They will make sure things are working as intended. And because not all ingredients are created equal or are combined in the same way. So while we as a company may initially say, don't use it with a mandelic acid, we have people like Shauna Rocha who are testing this out and knowing how that product is balanced out with everything else in their whole ingredient deck in order to make it so it's okay to use that with the light. And then there are some cases where you would be able to maybe do it on one client and not another. For example, in my skin games, I did actually use the Bedazzle mask and the LED immediately afterwards and got my client looking less red after treatment than before. But you have to know your client's skin. You have to take that person to person because that is not something that either of us have on as a general protocol because it's not something that's going to be as universal. So just keep that in mind is that there are going to be things that work for some people and not others, but there's also going to be ingredients that where we may say something and then a company we work with has said yes, but there's an exception here because of all these said reasons. After we use the light, you can apply the Hush Hydrate mask with biorelief in order to mask and massage. I love massage after LED because since it's going to get that circulation going, the tissue becomes so much more malleable and you get to be so much more productive with the massage if you move that to after using the light. Now, of course, these can be moved around, and since Hale and Hush is such a safe line, it is something where you can be a little bit more creative. But I love how this is set up because it goes exactly into my way of thinking as well. And then you can apply additional serums and enhance with things like their eye mousse or brilliant eye and lip treatment, and then your choice of moisturizer and, of course, sunscreen. So some of those ingredient guidelines we talked about, I'm not going to go into too much detail here. And we do have all these within our protocols as well. So these are all available on our website. So feel free to register for an account at lightstimpro.com if you are interested in getting a lot of these guidelines, precautions, etc. And it's something that can be used as home care in combination with those same Hale and Hush products that were mentioned as well. So don't think of this just as a treatment room, but think of this as something that's going to be assisting with accelerating that treatment at home. And there is a gentle warmth in these lights that does promote product penetration. There's not a lot of research out there if LED itself helps with product penetration, but there is a light warmth and that circulation, and that's really where we notice it being more effective. There could be something with LED helping, but I'm not going to sell it to you that way because the science isn't saying things one way or another there. So you can contact us at Professional LightStim if you guys do have any questions or any interest in reaching out to us. You can also go to lightstimpro.com if you did want to register for an account, if this kind of piqued your interest there. But also, if it's more on the education side, I am absolutely available as well. So you can definitely reach out to me via those services there too. But I did want to open it up for questions, and I always do love having a good conversation back and forth with Shauna as well. But let's definitely see what we're able to do there.
Richard, you have one question. Can I get this device in Canada? The registration form seems to only allow location in the States.
So if you are outside of the States, definitely contact professional at lightstim.com. Let me put that back up on the screen here quickly. And email, they'll be able to get you a rep who will be able to answer any questions or any of the details around it. I do know that we do have a separate distributor in Australia. I'm not quite sure the situation with Canada, but we do have some amazing professional people on our sales team, most of whom are also licensed professionals within our industry who would be able to answer all of your questions and then some. I don't know if it's lucky or not, but I do tend to stay out of the logistics side of things. I get lost
And
in my own town, so.
Helen, he just displayed that website for you. Did you get that? Richard, they would like your contact information also to get a hold of you.
I just put it into the chat for you guys since this is going up on public YouTube. I'll just keep it in the chat, but
Okay. And Nancy asked, can this be used with Regenerate?
Oh, absolutely. We have quite a few people using us with Regenerate, just like they do with more aggressive forms of microneedling as well. One of my favorite books within our industry is A Concise Guide to Dermal Needling by a Dr. Lance Setterfield. If you are to get a more recent version because it tends to get like 4 times as thick every time he re-releases it. And it's a great book, not just on microneedling, but on the science behind ingredients, how different stem cells react within the body. He even has some really good details on how to combine different services together. But he was a huge proponent on using LED immediately after services by like microneedling, because a lot of those cytokines and cell signalers and other dermal proteins have already sent the messages that they need to from the controlled injury. So it can be used immediately afterwards. So on something that is a less aggressive form of this type of dermal stimulation, it can absolutely be a boon to use them together as well. Speaking again on microneedling, which I know is more aggressive than the Regenerate, but we did an amazing half-face study with the Dr. Sasaki in Southern California, who used us post microneedling and facelift and LightStim afterwards, and found that not only did it assist with the downtime of the procedures he was performing, but also the efficacy and longevity. So it's one of those things where it's that 1 + 1 = 3 that we were talking about prior as well.
Can I do light therapy on a client with melasma?
You know, it really depends. One of the precautions that we do discuss is to avoid any heat sensitive forms of hyperpigmentation, especially since there is a gentle warmth, there is an increase of circulation. It's really hard to tell a heat-sensitive form of melasma from a non-heat sensitive form of melasma. So it is something that a lot of times we would say avoid unless you are very familiar with the skin and the person in front of you. And so it is definitely something where I would at first veer away from using it unless you're in that place where you're very knowledgeable on all those little niche differences that can happen there.
We have a few more questions, Richard, but let's give away our prizes because that is so much fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
LightStim has been so generous. Richard, can you tell them what you're going to give them today?
So for one attendee today, we do have one of our LightStim for Wrinkles, which is the at-home version of the handhelds. We wanted it to be the at-home because, as we know, estheticians are the worst at taking care of ourselves. And it's one of those things where I would like you to be able to use it on yourself in order to be able to really believe in what we're doing here and to take care of yourself during the holidays. Now, of course, if you already carry LightStim or have it, this is a great one in order for you to have as retail or on display as well. So, definitely something that's near and dear to my heart and something that I use near nightly. And so I really excited for who this is going to. Now, with that
Yeah,
being
me
said,
too.
it will also open you up if you do register for an account for us, since you do have a light. The winner will also have access to our full online certification as well.
I love that certification. It was so beneficial for me.
Yeah, and it
I've
keeps
taken
updating
notes
all
on
the
it.
time. Like I
Yeah.
still find every once in a while it's a great refresher. And Amy Gardner, our director of education, is a very strong reason for why I wanted to work with LightStim. I am a believer in the company, I'm a believer in the devices, but the education that she built was just so incredibly
Amazing.
inspiring that it it is worth its weight in gold, that certification.
I think so too. Amy's incredible. And we're going to give away some of the products that you can use with the LED devices. So we'll
That's
give away a
exciting.
Rare C, a Fresh Breeze, a Soothe Essence, and a Remedy Rehab. So what do we? Let's do Richard's first. There's more people in here. Let's do it now. Morgan, you got that? Are you there, girl? Morgan has put all of your names in a little spinner.
I'm going to share my screen with the spinner and see if you guys can hear it this time. Let's see. Oops, there's a
Oh,
weird.
you got a lot of things. That is overwhelming.
Sorry, million tabs going up here. Okay, let's see if it'll make noise. So this is for which one? This is for Richards?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. It better make noise.
Tick, 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 tick.
I hear it. I hear the noise.
Morgan, it's not making noise.
Ooh.
Emily, is Emily still in here? Emily Costa,
Yay,
that's you.
congratulations, Emily. I see you.
Okay, Emily, great work. So you have to email education@haleandhush.com and I will get the information to LightStim for you. I need your address, license number, obviously name, right?
Yep, name, email, address, phone number.
Email. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, Emily. You can tell the cold medicine is not doing well with my brain cells. Okay, Morgan, let's give away a rare C.
Click, 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 click.
Click,
Click, click, click, click, click, click, click, click, click. Corinne.
Morgan, are you mad about this?
I'm
Corinne, are
devastated.
you in here?
It worked last time on my
Yeah.
desktop, but now it started like my laptop won't play the music.
Corinne, are you still in here? Do we need to pick a new one? Corinne, get to your chat box. Hurry.
She's here.
Oh,
She's here. Victory.
okay,
Clapping.
what about a fresh breeze?
You guys got to be my
One of
favorite
these.
here.
One of those. Spray yourself. Okay, go ahead, Morgan. We'll click it for you. Tick, 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 tick. Stephanie.
Woo, Stephanie.
Are you still in there, Stephanie? Stephanie's one before, I think. Stephanie, get to your chat. Answer.
She's here. Yay.
Okay, you guys, don't forget to email me your address. Okay, Soothe Essence, Morgan.
Hey.
Sorry, Richard, we're going a little bit over today.
Hey,
Sorry,
it's for a good reason.
But you have a few more questions if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. Let's stay on and get some of that done too.
Oh, Amanda Etlin, are you in here?
Hey.
Yay!
It sounds exciting on my end. You guys are missing out. I'm sorry.
We're trying to make it as just as exciting.
I can hear it in your voice. I hear how exciting it is through how you're expressing it. Oh.
Okay, one more. Remedy Rehab. Who's gonna get this one? Man, that's funny. Tick,
Cheering
tick,
and
tick,
everything.
tick, 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 tick. Oh. Jill Brock, are you in there? Jill Brock. Jill?
Get to the chat. Yay, she's here. Congratulations, Jill.
That's not Jill. Oh, there she is. Okay, good job, Jill. Okay, everyone, please email education@haleandhush.com to get that. I'm going to go back to the questions and answers now. If you guys have to take off, please do. Richard, any other books you recommend in relation to LED?
Not necessarily books. I am a big fan of looking up clinical studies. If you have the wherewithal to look those up, a lot of sources are like Google Scholar or PubMed. Google.com/scholar is great. A lot of times you may only be able to see the abstracts, which is a summary, but sometimes you can see a full analysis as far as it goes too. Um, the two terms I would mainly look up in the scientific literature to look at um, LED light therapy would either be LLLT, which is low level light or laser therapy, or photobiomodulation, which is easy if you break that word down. It's photo, light, bio, life, modulation, change. So those are the two big terms that are used within our industry. If you want to see where LED really kind of started and those different studies that were contracted out by NASA for plant growth and wound healing, a name I would look up is Harry T. Whalen because that's some of the birthplace of where we came from. But that's a good way to go. But honestly, we do go over a lot of different recommended reading in our certification as well. So if you're looking for some of our recommendations for a lot of the science behind skin health and inflammation, cytokines, etc., that Lance Setterfield was just a little taste. We do have a lot more within of educational resources within our cert too.
Okay, and it's Lance Setterfield. Someone asked,
Yeah,
repeat
I
the
put it
name. I'm
in the
not looking
chat.
at that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And are the handheld devices typically rented out daily or weekly? Ooh, what is the suggested price for rentals? Okay, Alicio, we don't rent them out. You either sell them retail or I will let my cancer clients borrow them, but I keep track of them. But I would not rent them because you're really going to take a risk of not getting them back.
I mean, same with the borrow though. Sometimes a rental is
I've
good
lost
so that
many.
yep. I mean, it's
I
one of those things where we do see some people be good with rentals, but they usually have something signed, etc. If you're going to do something like
it's the
that.
best.
And but it can also be a first times free. So if that's something that can be successful for you, you can definitely give it a try or rent it out as part of like a different protocol you're doing for something like a chemical peel. But it
Uh,
it's one of
it's a
those
risk.
where you just need to make sure that you're okay having that uncomfortable conversation if it
Uh-huh.
doesn't come back.
And is it safe for pregnant women?
With pregnant women, it's since it is a medical device, it's much like aspirin that has to say consult your doctor if pregnant. With this, it wasn't tested for use in pregnancy. So if it is going to be used on a pregnant client, you always want to make sure to get that doctor's approval. In my personal practice and what I've seen with many a professional that majority of the time doctors do tend to be okay with that, but you just never know and you never know what else is going on within them. Pregnancies can be different person to person, and so you just always want to make sure that you're working within your liability and that you're doing the correct thing there as well.
Okay, last one. How often should clients be coming in for treatments? Is there a recommended schedule or does it depend on the situation?
It really does depend on the situation. It's one of those things where you can get use even once a month because there are those immediate benefits of them looking better. It's going to be helping with your more aggressive services. It's going to be helping promote product penetration with that warmth. You are getting a lot of reasons to even use it once. If you're using it alone, you may want to do a series where they're coming in a couple times a week if that's all you're
Mhm.
using it alone. If you're combining it with other things, you're getting more out of it. You're seeing it all together. You may see results quicker than you would with it being done alone. And so it really all depends. It's just like how some people are also add-on people and some people are incorporate.
Uh-huh.
I myself, when I'm doing a service where I feel LED should be included because it is more aggressive, I have LED as a service already incorporated into the price of that service because I'm the professional. I am the license holder and I know that they're going to get the best results by them being done together. If you make it to a la carte and in their hands, it's something where you're giving them the power over saying what they will and won't have in a service when it might not benefit them the most. I do also know some people who go on like a, this is a good service, this is the best service type thing as well, where, they'll have certain things incorporated in, but also have it as an option as an add-on for their basic services. So it really depends on how you're doing it, but it is like working out. It is about being consistent with it in order to get those long-term, long-lasting results. So I'm a huge proponent of home care for that reason. But it is one of those things where if you are wanting to get those long-term results in the treatment room with it as a monotherapy, it's going to be with it as a series of them coming multiple times in short time.
Mm-hmm. Can you use it on contact dermatitis?
Now, it is a medical device, and so since it is an FDA cleared medical device, we can really stick to what we have claims for. Uh, can it be used on other things that are outside of that realm and see benefit? Potentially, but it's just something where from the company, we can't necessarily recommend it in those cases. Have I seen it be used on a lot of different things, both in the pain realm and in the skin health realm, and seen incredible results? Absolutely, but it's one of those things where I'm respectful of liability just as much as anybody else. And it's look what I put in a menu of services that this is your contact dermatitis psoriasis treatment. I wouldn't, just because you have to be respectful of all those different sources out there. We can say more than a cosmetic because it is a medical device, but you really want to stick to things within the cosmetic realm or what those claims are based off of. And also because things like dermatitis, psoriasis, etc., could have autoimmune aspects to them. You never know what someone will be sensitive to. It is a person-to-person situation where you just want to be very conscious of who's in front of you. But it is a very non-invasive, no downtime service, and it is something that is so safe that it is used quite often in oncology care as well, much like Hale and Hush. And so it's really the only electrical modality I know of that can be used in oncology care. And where it came into the skin industry was from its use first in science and NASA and those contracted out studies. From there, it went to the medical community where it was used for things like oral mucositis and cancer patients from chemotherapy and radiation dermatitis. And then from there, LED went to the beauty community with all this evidence behind it. So I feel very confident on it being used in people in very vulnerable situations or very reactive situations, but that can vary person by person, and it is not our place to diagnose or treat. So all that would be under the approval of an overseeing physician.
Yes. And last one, do you do LED after Regenerate?
I
What about
mean,
the heat factor versus the tingle from Res? I do it after.
More often than not, people are using it after in those services in order to bring down what's going on in those situations. So yeah, I would agree. After is more commonly what we see when it's being combined with an aggressive service. If the exception to the rule there is chemical peels, because more often than not, we would say use it before the chemical peel, just because you don't know the pH, the percentage. It can have all the same ingredients and react different line to line. So if you're wanting to use LED immediately after a chemical peel, that would be with the product manufacturer's approval. Um, Same with aggressive services where you may not want warmth or light immediately afterwards, like more aggressive laser services. I would usually contact the more aggressive service to see when to incorporate them in, or to be safe once they're off whatever protective topical you have them on for weeks or so. That's always a very conservative time in order to bring it back in.
Yes. Well, Richard, thank you. And thank you for going over a little bit. I know that you have lots planned in your day.
No, and I'm
But
just
this
so
has
grateful
been
that we had
incredible.
such an engaging audience here. They have so many good questions. They've been
Incredible.
following along throughout. This has just been wonderful. I mean, what a
Yes.
surprise. The people who use Hale and Hush are all good people, but
They are good people. We have a good group of
you have a good
estheticians.
group.
But thank you so much for taking time out and doing this for us. You know, I just love to incorporate our our companies together, but it really says a lot for the advanced education that's out there and what people need to know if they're working in this niche. And for LightStim, it's on any skin type, right? So it's lovely. You guys, thanks again. I will be mailing out your prizes. And whoever won the Emily, your information will go to LightStim, just so you know. Okay. And then they will take it from there. All right.
Thank you so
guys,
much, everyone.
Is Richard not the best? The best.
Thank
As
you,
my
Shauna. You're
editor.
the best.
The best.
Everybody, all of Team Awesome's great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Morgan and Shirley, for being here as well, and
Shirley,
everybody
yes,
who is
thank
in the
you.
audience.
Shirley, I had to have her on panic mode, but she was here. Morgan, thanks as always. Appreciate you guys. And this will be sent out, Richard, right after here. They'll get a recording if they want it. So they may contact you after that. And then in a couple weeks, it will be on our YouTube.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Bye, my friend. Appreciate it.